Why modern men are losing their focus. The dopamine trap. Have you ever noticed this feeling? You sit down to do something that matters, and within a minute your hand is already reaching for your phone, not because anything urgent is waiting there. Just because the silence inside has become almost unbearable. You're no longer losing time. You're losing the ability to be here. And this isn't laziness. It's something far deeper. The modern man is surrounded by an endless stream, notifications, feeds, voices, promises, and yet he feels a strange emptiness. His attention has been shattered into 1,000 small fragments, and not one of them belongs to him anymore. He still breathes, still works, still talks. But somewhere along the way, he stopped truly being present in his own life. To escape this trap, you first have to understand yourself. Inside you lives an ancient mechanism, dopamine. It isn't the chemical of pleasure, as people tend to believe. It's the chemical of anticipation, of the hunt, of striving. For thousands of years, it led our ancestors toward food, toward a goal, toward survival. It was built to keep you moving forward. But this mechanism doesn't know the difference between real prey and an empty illusion. Every notification, every swipe, every short clip gives it a tiny spark, a small promise of a reward that never satisfies. And so your ancient hunting instinct ends up chained to a pane of glass, endlessly chasing a shadow. These devices were not designed by accident. Behind every feed stand people who spent years studying how to hold your attention. The infinite scroll is a slot machine in your pocket. You pull the lever again and again, never knowing what will come up this time, and it's precisely that unpredictability that binds you tighter than any chain. Every time you feel the slightest hint of boredom, you reach for the dose. A red light, a cue, a pause in conversation, all instantly filled with a screen. The mind grows used to it. Any emptiness must be drowned out at once. And slowly you lose the very thing that separates a deep man from a scattered one, the ability to sit calmly with silence. And the price of this is high. Real work, the kind that builds character and mastery, demands depth. It demands that you sink into one thing for a long time, without fleeing. But a mind trained on instant sparks can no longer bear the effort. Within 5 minutes, it begins searching for an exit, demanding another hit. In time, something troubling arrives. The ordinary things stop bringing joy. A book feels boring, a conversation too slow, a walk pointless. You've raised the bar of pleasure so high that everyday life can no longer reach it. This is the dopamine debt. The more you grab, the less you're able to truly feel. The most insidious part is that this trap disguises itself as productivity. You're constantly busy, always reading something, replying, consuming. By evening, you're exhausted, as if you'd worked all day. But if you ask yourself honestly, what did you create today? There's often no answer. There is motion. There is no direction. We've confused stimulation with living. A man feels he's living fully because his mind is occupied at every moment. But being occupied is not the same as having meaning. You can spend years in this fog, reacting to other people's signals, without ever asking a single honest question of yourself. Beneath all of it hides a quiet fear, the fear of being left alone with yourself. When the screen goes dark, the thoughts you worked so hard to silence rise up about who you've become, what you're avoiding, what you keep putting off year after year. And instead of facing them, the man reaches for his phone again. Anything not to hear himself. The Stoics understood this 2,000 years ago. Seneca wrote that men are willing to run anywhere as long as it lets them run from themselves. But you cannot escape yourself, you can only numb yourself for a while. Every flight into noise is a small refusal of your own life, and the cost of that refusal quietly accumulates in the silence. Now, imagine the opposite. Boredom is not the enemy, it's a fertile emptiness from which thought is born. When you stop feeding your mind other people's sparks, it finally returns to you. At first, it will feel uncomfortable. Your hands will keep searching for the phone. But if you can hold that moment, a clarity arrives that you haven't heard in a long time.